World War I. 100 years later, we don't think about it. Old World War I movies like Over the Top, cranked up by Hollywood, are old black and white relics. And the last living veteran of World War I was laid to rest 3 years ago. But author and Vassar College senior staffer Lance Ringel says it was World War I that changed everything and launched the American century.
It changed America and the world because it was the collision of the 19th century with the 20th century, and the world was never the same afterwards. But for America specifically, we emerged from World War I as the preeminent world power, and we weren't before the First World War. All the European empires had been damaged severely, whether they won or lost.
His book, Flower of Iowa, concerns an American and British soldier who unwittingly fall in love during the final months of battle in the summer of 1918, in an era where, he says, the notion of don't ask, don't tell wasn't really thought about.
This story is as much about the emotional as it is about the physical, and these two young men fall in love with each other. But they're in the middle of a war. They're away from home for the first time, as almost everybody was, because this was the first war with mass numbers of civilians who got drafted or volunteered into the armed forces. And so on one level, it's a gay romance. On one level, it's a war novel. But it's also about, for instance, being abroad for the first time, and all the confusion that is when you've got English people and Australian people and French people and German people and Americans. There's all that confusion, too.
Ringel says during the years he researched World War I, two lucky things happened. He was given a day-to-day diary written by a member of the 33rd Division, the unit he'd already placed his main character, Tommy Flowers, in. Then on a flight back from Europe, got talking to someone who had saved letters of a World War I nurse.
I'm on the flight back, and the woman next to me starts talking to me, and I tell her what I'm doing. And she says, you know, my great-aunt was one of the only American women who went to Europe as a nurse in World War I, and I have copies of her letters. Would you like copies of her letters? Yes, I'd like copies of those letters. And we have a major character. She's actually Canadian, but spun out from that.
Flower of Iowa, a World War I story of love, war, and courage. Number 2 on several lists at Spreadfast, a site that features self-published works, and also available at barnesandnoble.com and on iTunes. Kerry, Donovan, Neighborhood News.